All right, good morning. So here you see under the camera my final version of my sugar skull. However, it's not complete. I am still adding colors to it. Along the way, I decided I needed some heavy definition, some heavy outlines around certain parts. So I used my Sharpie markers, my really thick marker, my medium, and my thin. So 3 different weights of line, 3 different thicknesses of line to go in here and reinforce areas, make them stand out. The shape of the skull is highly simplified and stylized. I did substitutions for the eyes. The nasal septum, about as basic as you can make it, just a single line, well, 2 lines really. And the teeth greatly exaggerated in terms of size, which also exaggerates the smile. I added this symbol, this candle burning low and extinguished really, or just now going out, with its trailing smoke. And of course, symbolically, the candle is much more than a candle. The candle stands for the brevity of life. It doesn't burn very long and then it's gone, okay? Very often in religious worship, smoke is involved, either from candles or incense. And sometimes prayers are offered and they're caught up in the smoke and then they are carried to the nether regions. So the smoke itself and its passage can be symbolic too, as are the butterflies, as is the flower, as is the heart, as is the stars, as is the sun, all symbolic of brevity, fragility, or the cycling through nature of life. It's here and then it's gone, okay? We discussed early, when you were doing some thumbnails, some other symbolic possibilities: pathways, doors, the hands of a clock, an hourglass, windows, birds, butterflies, worms, food, music, books. It's not on here. So there are many things that can be used to symbolize. You don't have to symbolize. This can be very decorative, but if you wish to symbolize, you can. I've reinforced with a Sharpie marker this final thumbnail, only because I didn't like it. I thought it was kind of weak. So I went back over it with my Sharpie. I can eliminate or get rid of the pencil marks underneath if for some reason they're bothering me. You see, I didn't bother re-going over that, the lower jaw, just because I kind of liked it the way it was. So you can always go back, even if it's a thumbnail, and rework the surface because you've identified some problems and you then make it better. This is all about editing and improvement, just as it would be, say, in a language arts class. So to start this, I'm going to continue to add more color to this in just a moment, but to start this out, you would have your piece of 80-pound paper, all right? And remembering that we want to fill our page, I'm going to draw lightly a circle or an oval, and then I'm going to attach something like a rectangle or a square to it. I'm drawing lightly, of course, so I can either ignore my earlier lines or just erase and get rid of them more easily because they are drawn so lightly. I'm going to go ahead and keep this simple. Right here where the circle meets this square, I'm going to bump out and bump back in again. That could indicate the cheekbone, your zygomatic bone. Here it goes again on this side. You see I'm broadening out the jaw, really making great use of the height and width of the paper to really fill the design space. I like that smile. Just beneath that flesh on your skin is that smile. And I'm going to go ahead and divide this surface up for the teeth. Could be that I'll knock one of the teeth out, or maybe because I have a gold pencil, I might turn it gold here in a little bit. The nasal septum, it can be anything you want to. It doesn't have to be realistic, naturalistic. I can substitute, I can alter, I can change, I can simplify, I can move, I can abstract. I think I'm going to go with a star right here. You see how lightly I plan? And in an earlier thumbnail, let's see, I had a heart for the nose right here. I have a star and a bird here. I kind of like the bird, but you know what? I think I'm going to make this. I'm going to substitute over here for a butterfly. Remembering that in many cultures, butterflies are considered evidence of the spirit world, okay? So that's very, very light. When I want to, I go back over my lines with a heavier line. You notice I kind of slowed down a little bit just now. That heavier mark is more difficult to correct if I wish to. I'm going to add some additional edges here. See how that angles and this angle's kind of the same way. Let's see this, gonna see this. Where else? I don't see that. I might see a little bit of this. Okay, and then back here I might make more stars. So it's stars inside of stars inside of stars. Kind of like the universe as it expands outwards, okay? And the cycling of the stars across the sky during the night and across the years. Again, evidence of the passage of time. Very old-fashioned way of telling time, watching the movement of heavenly bodies. Sort of suggestive of life's brevity as well. This is kind of an arabesque. I'm not sure why I put it there, but I kind of like that. It might be it's just decorative. I don't know that that has any symbolic power right there. And so it goes. Let me get back to this butterfly here. And of course, the butterfly can be just a butterfly sitting in place of the eye socket. I could just do the eye socket. I could do the eye socket with a butterfly flying out of it. So there's more than one possibility, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and add a little pattern to the wings of the butterfly here. Just to get started, that's pretty basic stuff. A few curving lines across the surface of its body, giving a sense of being three-dimensional. It might be, let's go ahead and work down here on the teeth a little bit. And you see how then I develop little by little my ideas. Again, this sugar skull that you're making, very typical of the celebrations in Mexico of the holiday Dia de los Muertos. And the sugar skull, really made for kids, I think, for them to enjoy and eat. The idea behind the celebration, behind the holiday, is that you do celebrate both life and death. Your ancestors came, your ancestors left. The veil between the living and the non-living world on certain dates might thin a little bit, as I heard said once. That veil, that thin sheet of fabric, allowing the spirits to cross over and visit. Not unusual in cultures to believe things like that, okay? These teeth are nice and big, so instead of just leaving those empty spaces, I might do something with them later. I might go ahead and bump out the jaw a little bit here. And you see then how I would begin to develop my ideas. This is not done, but you can see the progression. I'd still have a lot of empty spaces to fill. And if I want to, I can go ahead and do something here in the background. Although the background is pretty small, I've really eliminated a lot of the background by drawing this skull so big. Let's go back to this more finished piece right here. I kind of think I wished I'd done it a little more simple than I did, but that's okay. I think what I'm gonna do here, since I've begun to use green, it doesn't matter what kind of green, I kind of like to mix them up. Coming from this outside edge, dark to light coming inwards, that gives me a sense that there's a roundness to this surface. Whenever you shade like this, dark to light, dark to light, dark to light, following the curve of the surface inward, in this case, the curve of the skull inward from dark to light, it gives it a more 3D appearance. I think these arabesques right here need to be bolded out a little bit. Have fun with colors, have fun with arbitrary colors, colors that you like. There's no rule on what colors you should use, okay? Use those colors that you like. Those would be arbitrary colors. They don't have to match any idea of reality at all. Just because you like them, that's a good enough reason. You notice that sometimes, here, I'm gonna go ahead and come in here and do a little shading here. Sometimes I like to blend colors. I know from the color wheel that if I blend anything with red in it, because green is a mixture of yellow and blue, I mix anything with red in it, that's gonna neutralize the yellow and blue and give me a brown. I'm not sure I wanna do that in this case. This green, once again, has blue and yellow in it. I might add something with more blue. You can always experiment, write on your paper a little bit to see if you like it. I think the blue with the blue-green or the green works well right here. Rather than to create an earth tone of brown, I think I prefer this right at the moment. because it's prettier. Sometimes I make a lot of earth tones and it does get a little muddy when I do that. It looks a little too earthy. Kind of like the fact that that's rolling in there. It looks like those exist and float on a rounded surface. I like the idea that the arabesque pop out just a wee bit more in terms of color. So I picked up a pink. I'm not sure that was my best choice, but I'm using it. Dark to light, dark to light. Doesn't have to be the same pink over here, but you can if you want. Okay, here's an orange. Ooh, you know what I had? I had gold. Let's get some gold involved here, because I had talked about using it. I didn't have it last night, so I'm here at school today. I'm using it now. Go ahead and put the gold in here too. Blends with that blue a little bit. I might put a little more gold here on the smoke. I think I want that line to stand out just a little bit more of the smoke. So I'm going to put some gold in there as well. I think I want to go into one of these teeth and deal with it in gold. It's not a bright, shiny gold. It does have a little bit of a metallic appearance to it. Come in here like that. I can use this gold. Let's see, where else can I round out? I'm going to come over here and use the gold on this green. Let's see what happens. The gold is kind of an earth tone anyway. And so you see, I'm just experimenting, especially with darks and lights, to see if I can get a little bit more of a rounded appearance to this, coming off those outside edges. This is what I've got so far. Not too bad. Could do a little more. These need to be colored in down here to give them a little bit of a pop. I could be doing a little bit more shading on these outside teeth, though they appear to roll around on the face a little bit. But otherwise, I'm getting pretty close to being finished, even though I'm not right there yet. All right? So this is your finished drawing of your sugar skull. Sugar skulls are sometimes called calaveras. And here, that's one assignment, that's 50 points. And here, these three thumbnails of your sugar skulls, that's worth 30 points. You don't have to create a list of possible design elements or design motifs, but you can if you want, remembering that a lot of these ideas possess real symbolic potential, okay? And symbols are one thing that stand for something else entirely, okay? Like the candle burning low going out, standing for the brevity of a life, okay? All right, now, you try.